In this video, we're going to talk about retardations. If you remember, a retardation is a note that is consonant, held over, or repeated, and then resolves upward. It's like an upward suspension. It will happen at a chord change, and it usually only appears in soprano. I've got a progression here that you will see already written out for 4 voices. And I'm going to show you how to add retardations and decide where they would go. If you already see something contradictory to what I just said, don't worry, I'll explain why in a little bit. So, if we take this progression, let's listen to it first. Listen to how it sounds, and then we'll talk about adding non-chord tones. Okay, if the note is to be held over, we have to find a note that goes up by step. That one does, that one does, that one does. We couldn't have a retardation in measure 2 in the soprano because they go down by skip. But we could take this A, and instead of having B on beat 2, we could repeat the A and move the B over to the and of 2. So take that rhythm and split it into 2 and make this a repeated 8th note. So look down here and you'll see that I did that. Instead of the B quarter note, if you'll just follow my cursor, we've split that up into 2 8th notes, and the B is going to come in, but come in late. So we have the A, B. And this C sharp, we did the same thing. We're going to hold the B over and then let the C sharp come in late. And each of those will be a retardation. To analyze, put them in parentheses, just like that, and label them. Since suspensions have intervallic numbers for the suspension and the resolution, you'd think these would too, but they don't. Thank goodness. You don't have to do that. Now, we could have put another retardation here. The C sharp would come in and the D would come in a half a beat later, but we didn't. Now, just for fun, I'm going to put a bad retardation in there. Down here where the bass goes up a step, I put a bass retardation in there. And I'm going to hopefully let you see that it really sounds bad. So don't do this. It's just to illustrate that they don't work in the bass. They don't work in inner voices either. So leave them as a soprano note, and these will sound pretty good, and this one will sound pretty bad. Let's talk about this measure. What could we add in non-chord tones? We could add a passing tone in the bass there. That would be great to put an A right there. I didn't do that because I messed it up with that bad retardation. We could put passing tones here. So, fa, mi, re, do, or put them on the beat. That would be a good one to put. It's possible we could put a suspension where this A goes down to the G. We could hold over the A there and make the G come in on the and. So we'd be changing that to 2 8th notes, A, G, and that would be a nice suspension. I chose to put one at the most common place, though, and that's above the 5 chord. The most common suspension in the world is a 4-3 suspension above a dominant chord. And here's how you do it. The D is going to change to C sharp when the chord changes to A, and remember that bass note is still there, A, C sharp, E. We can delay that C sharp. That's the 3rd above the bass, happens to be the 3rd of the chord. And we can make it come in over here and hold that D. So look what I did down here. I didn't exactly repeat it, but I held it. We've got the D holding through 2 beats, and the C sharp that came in there moved over. The chord is like this. But you can't see the D, but it's there. It's holding. If it were sung or played on an instrument, you would really see it. How do we mark that? Is this the suspension note? No, because it's consonant to that D, F sharp, A chord. It's only a suspension right there. And it's sort of invisible on the staff because we have a half note holding for the 2 beats instead of a tied note or a repeated note. So here's how I suggest you mark it. right where the D is, we're going to put a little X, and that's going to stand for the suspension, and it really ought to be in parentheses there, but I can't really do parentheses easily right now. And then I would label it 4-3 suspension, close to that alto note. So that's standing for the sound that is still holding on that D. Why is it 4-3? What do we compare the suspension to? The bass voice, which is still sounding there. It's still holding. A up to D, that D that's holding, is a fourth. A to the resolution, C sharp, is a third. I've got one more retardation in here in the soprano, and it's this E that holds over there and delays the F sharp. So that is a retardation as well. All right, I think I got them all labeled. And we might as well say, just for grins, what kind of 6/4 chord is that? If you look at the bass line, look where we are, look what it goes to. If you said cadential, you are right. Okay, let's listen to this finished product here, and I want you to listen to these retardations, that one, and the end, and see which ones you think sound best. And hopefully you'll agree that that one doesn't sound too good, and it doesn't belong there, and I don't want you to do it. So that's an example of what not to do. It's hard to hear this 4-3 suspension because I didn't repeat the note. If I were to repeat the D, you'd really hear that dissonance there, but it's kind of hard to hear. Okay, listen to this, and we'll be done with this video, and there's one more.